Welcome back. I've been thinking a lot about the type of people that find the Dharma, whether that be through books or online or going to local meditation centers, things like that. And the people that find themselves, especially in the Oklahoma area, that find themselves in the Dharma or just practicing the Dharma a little bit, they share a few qualities. And a lot of the ones that at least find me have a little bit of this rebellious nature, has a little bit of this feeling of like, there's got to be something I'm missing here, that kind of a feeling. And so I've got this idea that I'm going to try, because all of this stuff reminds me of, I'm going to take you back to like 1999, reminds me of Neo in the Matrix, right? He's got this inkling, he's reaching out. He doesn't know quite what he's reaching out for, but he's reaching out for something. He's like, man, something feels off. What am I missing? And then, knock knock, Neo, right? They take him to meet Morpheus. And Morpheus basically says, I don't know if you're ready for what I'm going to tell you, but I'm going to show you what the Matrix is.
A prison for your mind.
The Dharma is a lot like that for me. Knowing these fundamental principles, not just like the junior high, we've been through the lists and, take the test and you're done, but like really fundamentally, how does this work in our lives? Is this true? What does this say about the world that we live in today? When I first started practicing Buddhism, when I first started studying Buddhism, there was this goal for me. It was an internal thing, but it was like, I need to know the numbers. I need to know the lists. And when I know the lists, then I will have a bit of peace in my life, or then I'll be a real Buddhist, right? Ignore all of that. We're going to go over the lists. It's important to just have those kind of in reference, but it's one of those things that you study and you contemplate and you investigate those things, and then you let it go, right? It becomes more of like, we're practicing this redirect, we're practicing these heart practices, all of that will go into, right? But it's more of like, I want this to just kind of seep in. And I want to actively practice these things to where it's not just concepts, but it becomes habitual. It becomes nature. And so that's what I hope for this, is that I'll give you the lists. We'll talk about those things, but then we'll also talk about in each of those things how to put that into practice, because it's not about the lists themselves, but what those lists mean in our lives today. Even if you know these things, even if you've studied these things, maybe a good idea to go back over them, right? There's this old Chinese proverb that talks about, and I'll butcher it, but it talks about like, there's a stone and you take a water droplet, like what's that thing called? Like a little syringe thingy, and one drop at a time, you drop onto the stone, and eventually that stone will change shape, right? And that's how these teachings work on the mind sometimes, is you just have to one drip at a time. Maybe this is your first drip, maybe this is your 100,000th drip. It's just as important. And maybe something that I'll say will hit you a little bit differently. Maybe you'll consider something a little bit from a different perspective or deeply. Hopefully, let's see. But give it a shot. Let's see what happens. I'm not going to pretend to be Morpheus. I'm more on the Neo side, right? I'm searching, I'm looking, I want to know more, I want to study more. But this is our time to choose. Morpheus had this blue pill. He said, okay, if you take the blue pill, you'll wake up and you go back to your life. No problem, right? But if you take this red pill, I'm going to show you what's going on. But you can't go back. You take the red pill, you see things a little bit more clearly, and then you can't go back to muddling the mind.
Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
These fundamental principles, the Four Noble Truths, what does that actually mean? This Eightfold Path, is this relatable? Is this something we can actually utilize in these times, right? This is, again, 2,600 years old. Is this really applicable? Is this something that we need? I'm going to argue yes. I hope you will take this little red pill with me and we see how deep the rabbit hole goes. This is a hot tamale, it's not really a pill, but you get the gist. I'll see you in the next one. Spoiler alert, suffering is going to be the next thing that we talk about, so stay tuned for that one.